gonna make me laugh. It is 7:03.
Start 5 minutes.
I'll write it down. Don't worry about it.
Somebody else.
Stop the recording.
Wait, what happened?
I thought it was somebody else.
Oh no. She gave an example to everybody. Go for it. Present.
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 Here.
She's here. I don't know where she went, but she's here. Vincent's not here.
Yeah.
We're here.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Perfect. So I'm missing one person right now. Okay, so is Ciara online because John's not here yet? They're gonna mess up my whole schedule now. Egypt, do you see the food stream person on Zoom? The food stream person.
What is the name?
Ciara?
Ask her to raise your hand.
Ciara O'Brien, if you're on, can you just raise your hand on Zoom? I don't know if she was coming in person or not, so. Okay, we're striking out here. Okay, so when we're gonna jump to Beth then for now, and we'll come back for other.
Want her to lead it in? Want her to lead it in? You want me to go and then beat her?
Yeah, we have her we're gonna have her go first. So Beth, we're gonna let you start since people aren't here. And then when John gets here, we'll have him go next. He should have been here. I haven't gotten the update.
I'll share it, Beth.
No, she's
gonna share it?
A live,
Okay.
demo.
So just as Beth heads up, what Beth is going to be talking about is part of priority 3 in District 25, which is around mathematics instruction. So she's going to share a little bit about the Amplified Math program that we're implementing across our middle schools this year and schools with middle school grades. So that includes our K-8s. We have a total of 12 schools that are implementing Amplified Mathematics for children in grades 6 through 8. We also have 9 schools that are piloting the program in elementary school with the goal of being prepared for and supporting us in rolling out Amplify in our elementary so that we have a common curriculum across all of our districts. So that's what Beth is going to talk to us about, as well as the latest research on the instructional shifts. She has talked about the instructional shifts last year with you guys. So it's the current space of what the instructional shifts are in relation to growing into Amplified Math. Thank you, Beth.
Good evening, everybody. So happy to be in person and actually see everybody that's here at the meeting. Thanks, Dr. Mike, for the introduction. Again, as he said, just here to talk a little bit about our Amplified Desmos Mathematics curriculum that's being implemented across all of our middle schools and piloted in some of our elementary schools. So during the presentation, I'm going to just revisit the math shifts a little bit, talk ground us in our D25 vision for math. I'll talk a little bit about the curriculum, how it highlights, how it supports student learning, and then what families can also expect at home, and any questions, answer any questions. So did a lot of work around the shifts last year with families. Also had a parent workshop around all the New York City math shifts. These have New York City Public Schools released these about 2 to 3 years ago. And the idea is that you really want to be moving away from more of the traditional style learning where it was that modeling piece, lots of differentiation in the whole group instruction, and back and forth between teacher and student, and always thinking about like what the students don't know, to more opportunities where students can make sense of the math on their own, begin with that productive struggle, engage in tasks that allow them to meet them at the level that they're at, but then also grow to where they are. So those shared low floor, high ceiling tasks. And then the idea that conversations within the classroom would be not just teacher to student, but student to student, and allow for that learning to happen, for students to work in collaboratively in groups, and students really to drive the learning in the classroom. And then when we're thinking about our students' needs, focusing more on what their strengths are and then how we can leverage those throughout to support the areas that they need more support with. And in order to make all of these things happen, the city really believes that having that shared high quality instructional material that allows for these things will support the teachers and the students in being able to make sure that this type of work can live inside the classroom, and then also ensure that equitable experiences for our students. Our vision has been around for a few years now, since I've been in the district, so I'll just give you a minute to read it. I don't like to always read out loud, but so I'll give you a minute to just read it. And then as we go through, just keep this in mind and think about how our curriculum highlights our vision. And so hopefully just even in speaking about the shifts, you can see the alignment of our vision to the New York math shifts, that idea of that inclusive, equitable, and still rigorous learning environment where our kids are engaged in that real world problem solving, those rich mathematical discussions, and that learning is student-centered, inquiry-based, and students are building that procedural fluency from their conceptual understanding. And again, all of this is in service of our students, and the ultimate goal is that we have our students be prepared to meet the demands of college and careers in the 21st century and be able to apply math in the real world. So I'll speak a little bit about our new shared high quality instructional material for mathematics. Amplified Desmos is a new problem-based digital first math curriculum. It is a hybrid experience, so students do not have to just be all digital, although in our middle schools, they do have more opportunities to engage in that digital-based curriculum. But just know that every lesson also comes with a corresponding workbook lesson, so they can also do workbook lessons. They're not on the computer all the time. In our elementary schools, I want to say about 30% of our 3 to 5 lessons are have the opportunity to be digital. And then in K-2, it's even less. It's about 20% of the lessons, because we believe that in our elementary schools that students do need more of that hands-on exploratory work with the manipulatives. So the curriculum was designed to allow for that in the lower grades. It uses that built-in Desmos technology, which is really known for its interactive math tools and engaging lessons. You'll see a piece of that in a little bit. But many of the lessons are adaptive to whatever the students do. So students can put in their own thinking. They get immediate feedback in regards to whatever they put in. And then also it will adapt to, like, when they put in certain numbers, they'll see how their input responds in relation to what the math is that they're learning. And it's created to help students develop those deep conceptual understanding, reasoning skills, and mathematical confidence, right? So we can see even then how this relates to our vision that we just learned, that we just saw. Some of the key features are it's hands-on and exploratory. It does have those digital tools that encourage that active thinking. There's a focus on student voice, discussion, and reasoning. And so even in our classrooms that we've been going into, we've been seeing a lot of students having rich conversations about the mathematics as they're engaging in it, talking about how, justifying their answers and their thinking to each other. And it's aligned with the college and career readiness standards. So here's an example of a 6th grade lesson on ratios and proportions, initial lesson, just so you can kind of get a sense of what those digital tools look like. In a digital lesson, they get to create their own pizzas. They're beginning to think about ratios and proportions. They can drag the sliders to see how much sauce, to put how much sauce they'd like on their pizza, any other toppings that they would have. And then this moves on to like, if they put, let's say, 6 ounces of sauce to make one pizza, depending on how much sauce they put on, the numbers would change here. So you can see that adaptive feature. So if they like lots of sauce on their pizza, it might say like 10 ounces for one pizza. And then it asks, well, how much sauce do you need for 2 pizzas? They can then put in their work, in their response, check their work, and it will give them some automatic feedback, right? So I typed in the answer 18. If I had 6 ounces, how much do I need for 2 pizzas? I put in 18. It will like draw it out, and then students will say like, oh, too much sauce. So they know automatically to kind of go back and think about how they might want to change their answer based upon the feedback that they got, right? Doesn't take away teacher at all. The teacher is walking around during this time, looking and thinking about what students are doing, so that if I'm in the classroom and I see, oh, this, the student keeps putting in an answer that's too big, I'm gonna go over and say, hey, tell me what you're thinking. How are you coming up with your number, right? Let's go back to the slide before. What did you notice? So that's an example of that digital piece. Why did we choose this curriculum? I mean, we felt that it was the best aligned to our District 25 vision for mathematics. Just again, as we've been walking around to classrooms, we've seen the level of engagement of students inside the math classroom increase tremendously. I know I have any students in my middle schools when they're on the computer, especially learning with each other, they've been really like excited about it. I've been hearing lots of laughing. They've been talking about the math that's been going on. We also are finding that it's creating that idea of equity across all our classrooms, right? So in many of our schools, they used maybe a version of a curriculum, but it wasn't always the same across all classrooms, right? So now we can really ensure with this shared curriculum that all of our students are receiving the same experience. They're receiving the support that they need to be successful in the program, but they're all starting at that same baseline. We've also found that for our English language learners and our students with diverse needs, that the curriculum has been extremely supportive, has lots of scaffolds built in to support them in their learning. In terms of coherence, we can see how concepts build thoughtfully across the grades. On Monday, I had 3 through 5 here. We were unpacking a unit, and it was really nice to do that work together because the 3rd grade teachers could see how their work with multiplication and the area model was carried through the 4th grade to the 5th grade. 5th grade was working on fractions, and they were using area models, and the 5th grade teachers could see what the work looked like in 3rd grade. So it's been really helpful for our teachers also just to see how the concepts build across the grades. And it is research-based, right? So it's built on best practices in math education and digital learning. I know there's been some debate around the teaching conceptually versus that traditional style of teaching. We're not saying that there isn't a time and a place for that explicit teaching for students in mathematics, right? But when we have our students together for that whole class learning experience, we want to make sure that all of our students have the opportunity to engage in the same grade level math tasks, because we know at the end of the year, they're going to be assessed on that grade level math. So the time for more of that explicit modeling piece of mathematics would live in the small group instruction. So what does a lesson look like? We start always with a warm-up. It's often some type of routine. We'll see a warm-up in a minute. That's going to be a dot talk for 6th grade. Could be things like notice and wonder. There's a 3 read sometimes that comes in. But the routines that we've been pushing for our teachers to be building into the classroom are already built in. And these are going to support the students in being able to access the math from the very start of the lesson. Then it's often followed by 1 to 3 activities. Each activity follows that launch, monitor, connect structure, which is really built on the 5 practices for mathematics instruction that I know Dr. Mike has shared is one of our priorities for our district CEP. So the idea that students are working on the same task, the teacher is walking around, and then the role of the teacher, where that explicit instruction comes in, is after we've kind of seen what students have done, we share their work and talk about the mathematics that's embedded with it and connect different strategies students have done. How are they the same? How are they different? And how do they connect to those big ideas in mathematics? There's, again, that use of interactive and/or hands-on activities. In K-5, we do see the use of centers. There are opportunities for enrichment and staff and supports for students in the middle schools as well. They just don't call them centers, but they can be easily adapted to station type work. Then there's, within our lesson, it's followed by a show what you know, which is used to be for that formative assessment, where we can get a sense of what students grasped from the lesson for the day. That feedback is designed to be automatic, like instantaneous, so teachers can see automatically, did the student get it right? Did they get it wrong? And then think about what the next steps would be for that student. Provides guidance for if a student is here, here's what the supports are that you should provide for them. And then there's also practice and additional practice, because they've heard from families and from teachers that they needed additional practice problems, although sometimes then we think it's so much, but there's additional practice problems that are also aligned, designed to be more aligned to like state exam type questions. And lots of opportunities for student discussion and collaboration.
So Beth, just go through this kind of modeled space, and then the supporting implementation part, we'll pause just for a moment, right?
Yeah,
And then we'll
Just
go
do
back
this
to you.
part, and then we'll come back.
so come back, wait.
Yeah.
Come back
Let's
now.
do this part.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you'd like to join the lesson, you have a computer in front of you, you're more than welcome to just type in the join code there. If you're in our document, you can click on the link, but you could just go to studentamplify.com /join and put in the code. And this will take you to the lesson if you wanted to just experience the tools. If not, I'm just going to quickly walk us through.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Yes. So this is unit 4, which is on dividing fractions, which I know that students struggle with a lot of often, right? A lot of times they've been taught that rule, keep, change, flip, or KFC, or other things, but they don't always understand how or why that works. And so think about how the lesson supports us in better understanding the why that rule works, and then how we can use diagrams to help represent and solve problems by asking how many groups, which is really what we're asking when we're thinking about division. So I'm just going to come out of here and still sharing, right? Okay, so first it would start with this warm up for the day, which is designed for middle school. It's about 5 minutes. Elementary school, it's about 10 minutes. Just so you know, the middle school lessons are designed to be about 45 minutes in length. Elementary schools are designed to be about 60 minutes in length. So a quick warm up. And the warm up here says how many dots are in this image. Let me see if I can make it a little larger. So students would have the opportunity, if they're on the digital platform, they can annotate on here how many dots they see, right? The idea is that, like, you might see, oh, there's groups of 4, and I see 5 groups of 4 here, 5 groups of 4 here, and use that to help me think about how many dots. They can put in their answer, and then, whoops, sorry, did I just hit stop share? Okay. They can put in their answer here, and then for this slide, once they put in their answer, they would actually see the thinking of some other students, right? So they would put in their answer and then explain how they thought about it. As you can see, there's multiple ways that we could think about it. You can think about it just even in terms of groups of 4, how many you see, but really getting students in that mindset of thinking about multiplication, and then eventually how multiplication and division are related. Sorry. Then we move into the activity. In our activity, I'm going to read the task aloud to the students, and then they're going to have an opportunity to work on the next couple of slides. So I'll read it to the students. This one is about making tres leches cake, the popular dessert of Mexico and Central America. It's made with 3 different kinds of milk. In our problem, Alexis needs 6 cups of flour to make tres leches cake, but only has a 2-cup measuring scoop, which if you like to cook, you know sometimes that's a problem in the kitchen, right? And you have to think about how many scoops should I use. So here, they'll put in their answer. Let's just say they look at the numbers and they're thinking, oh, I just was doing multiplication. I'm going to put in 12. They get some feedback and it's like, oh my goodness, I have too much flour. Let me go back. I might want to revisit the problem and think about what did I do wrong? How can I, oh, I see she only needed 6 cups of flour and I was putting in that she would use 12 scoops, right? So 2 scoops would be way too much. And then I'm going to go back and edit. My teacher at this time can also see what I'm doing so that if she needs to come over or he needs to come over and provide me with some support, can definitely come over and see what I'm doing and provide me with support that way. Then, again, we're trying to connect that multiplication and division for our students first with whole numbers before we move into fractions. So students would think about, what did I just do? What's an equation that I can use to help me figure it out? There's 2 different problems here that would work. They could either say 6 divided by 2 equals what? Maybe they use that. Or maybe they thought about it in terms of multiplication, 2 times what number? They choose it and then have an opportunity to, again, explain their thinking. Their thinking then is shared with other students in the class so that other students in the class can also see, is this similar to what I did? How is it different? Or is that thinking, what questions do I have about that thinking? And it helps to guide the conversations in the classroom. Students can be working individually or in groups. We've been pushing a lot for them to kind of be working in partnership so that they can have those discussions with each other as they're working. Now you see we move on in the first activity still. This is the first activity where they're moving on to working with fractions. So still that same 6 cups of flour, but now they only have that 1/2 cup measuring scoop, right? So they have to think about, well, my size scoop got smaller. What's going to happen? Again, they would put in their response. Let's just even say 1 because it's easier and we will see what happens. They get that same type of feedback here. They can see up, not enough. How can I make it to that 6 cups of flour? And then connecting it back because our learning goal is around connecting division of fractions to that bar model. So connecting it back to here, they'll watch a video and think about how the video helps with figuring out how many scoops of flour, 1/2 cup scoops of flour are needed for that 6 cups, and then ask to analyze the model and explain it back, right? And while it is asking them to type, students do have the ability to speak into the platform if they'd like to record it there. So that's another way that it's providing supports for students that might need it. Again, for some of our students that need translations, it's available in Spanish, but they can also use that Google Translate feature up in Google Translate to translate in their own language and then have it translated back into English for them. And then we move on to fractions to mix numbers. So taking that same idea of needing a certain cup of flour, we're working with 2 2/3 cups, and now we're using a different amount, that 1/3 cup. How would we do that? Same type of thing where they would put in their response, check it again. Students might want to be thinking about like the bar model. What does that look like? They can draw. They should be able to draw their thinking here. Whoops, This one is not so easy when I'm doing it, but they might want to draw a bar model, put some mathematics in, and show their thinking that way. This is activity 2. At the end of activity 1, excuse me, my teacher should have had a conversation around the learning that the students had. So they've stopped, they're recording. What do we learn about division? What do we learn about dividing with fractions? How can bar models help us, right? And then they move into the piece where they're thinking about now mixed numbers and dividing by that. So follows a similar type structure. Now they're giving them 2 separate models, asking them to analyze them and think about how each diagram can help us calculate. So they're making connections between the mathematics that they just did, different visual models, which one maybe aligns them, and how they're similar, how they're different, how they support us in that understanding. And then they're asked to draw their own diagram, right? Again, coming back together, there's card sorts. This is our 3rd activity. This one has 3 activities. It does move at a little bit of a faster pace, but they would then sort to see if they have a division sentence or a multiplication sentence, which ones go together. And so they'd match those there. And then our synthesis. So our teacher comes back, brings them together. Basically, this is like the big learning of the day. What's the big takeaway? What did you learn? How can you use an equation or a diagram to help us determine how many half cup scoops you need to make 6 cups, right? And then there's the exit ticket out the door, where students get to show, to solve a problem. Teacher gets the information as to what kids did. Again, they can show their thinking on the slide, and that helps me plan for small group instruction or the next day. And a quick little SEL check. Okay.
So we're gonna
Yep.
pause here for a
Yeah.
minute. We're gonna come back to this because I know there are a lot of questions even on Zoom, and I'm sure we all have questions. We're gonna pause, Beth, for 2 minutes and let Senator Liu speak really quick, and then we're gonna go right back to that.
Sure.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Eden, and
Thank
that was a
you.
great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not sure where I'm- and,
Wherever you feel like is a good spot.
okay. I'll try to have my back, not to everybody. I think this is good, right? Well, it's great to see everybody here. You know, I thought that presentation was super compelling and that we could apply the lessons to other things, right? I mean, it's not just all math when it comes to pizza. You know, we can apply it to physics, like how fast you have to twirl the dough so that it remains aloft and doesn't collapse, how much angular momentum you need to test the molality of, or the pH level of the sauce, make sure it's just right. I think we can teach some history, maybe what is the origin of the Sicilian slice versus Napolitano slice? And maybe even, you know, some sociology, like social equity issues, like why does a slice cost $3.50 in some neighborhoods and $7 in other neighborhoods? That's a plain cheese slice. So, I mean, I think we can apply pizza to so many different subjects and lessons. And the point of it, of course, is to keep students engaged. And to do that in math, I mean, I was always engaged in math, kind of a math nerd, but math is not everybody's thing. And so it takes pizza or tres leche or whatever to keep our kids involved. I think it's a good thing. So congratulations to Super Mike. I call him Super Mike. Superintendent Dantona and his incredible team for really leveling up our instruction here in District 25. Thanks to Eden and Shirley for carrying on the torch for this CEC. And welcome to all the new CEC members. I mean, like, we have almost a whole new crew. And it's not an easy job, you know. Sometimes the meetings go on late and we often hear about complaints, not necessarily when people are happy, but it is necessary and people do a great job. And you can see from the number of people on Zoom, like, I don't know how many
Yeah.
people are on now, but
Over 100.
over hundreds.
Yeah,
It's a
153.
huge level of participation,
We were at
which
165 at one point.
continues to make District 25 schools even bigger and better. as Eden and Shirley know, but maybe not the new CEC members know, I'm a product of District 25, beginning with kindergarten. That was before they had the pre-K days. And so it's a great place to always be
I think you
mindful
turned
of.
it off now.
I know we want to get back to the presentation. I just wanted to come by and I want to thank Eden for giving me this opportunity to just say what's happening maybe in state government. I know our superintendent's telling us what's going on with the Department of Education. We all know about the cell phone bans now, which we enacted earlier this year in the state capitol. Had a lot of complaints from students, some complaints from parents, but I think it's been launched pretty well. And I think by the time November and December come along, I think even the students will have bought in, because that's the experience that in every other school that has already long past adopted the policy. But students realize, you know what? It's a lot more fun actually talking with your friends as opposed to texting them when they're sitting right next to each other. And the classrooms are getting noisier, which, you know, is kind of a good thing to return to. The lunchroom, the cafeteria is getting noisy as well. So that's a good thing. On the issue of school governance, that's another big issue that we're gonna have to deal with once we head back to Albany in January. The issue of whether mayoral control should continue or not, different mayoral candidates, and it's a pretty heated election. I know everybody here is gonna be voting because we have a lot at stake. Education is the #1 job of city government. So whoever the new mayor is going to weigh in quite a bit. They may be saying a lot of different things right now. I've heard it all before. At the end of the day, no matter who's mayor, there's gonna be a state legislature, the city council, and certainly the parents and the CEC's input. And we're gonna do our best to make sure that we have the best path forward in ensuring that our kids are well educated. And then the last thing I'll mention is that, I've heard from many principals, you know, some are outspoken, some are a little bit more behind the scenes, concerned about enrollment declines and what it does to their budgets. So I know, Superintendent Daytona has a lot of going on here. The Chancellor and Department of Education, they're also very much on top of it. We're trying to make sure that there's a harmless policy so that schools are not hurt drastically by the lower attendance level because of what's happening in the federal government. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. And then lastly, with regard to the federal government, we have an administration that wants to eliminate the federal Department of Education. Now, with this shutdown that we're going through right now, you may very well be able to do that even without the congressional authority to do so, because 87% of the federal Department of Education has been furloughed, meaning told to stay home and not going to be paid. And whether they get pulled back or not at some point when the shutdown is over. Number one, we don't know when it's gonna be over. It could be many weeks. And number two, we don't know for sure that they'll be pulled back. And so that's something that we're keeping an eye on state government and trying to do what we can to backfill. We're not going to look to backfill all federal funding that's been cut from the state of New York, but at least with regard to some of the education, healthcare cuts, we're doing our best to make sure that our schools and people who need the assistance are not hurt or hurt as little as possible. So with that, let's get back to the pizza. And thank you all for participating. It is your participation that makes our schools the best in the city. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna let Beth finish up and then we'll take
Senator.
some questions as well. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us while we switch things up a little bit.
Okay. So I wanted to share just a little bit about some of the supports our schools are receiving in the rollout and implementation of the curriculum. First off, here's a list of the schools that we have using in our elementary schools that are piloting are PS 21, 29, 32, 79, 107, 130, 164, 169, 193, 219, and 499. We really asked schools that were departmentalized in some of the upper grades to, if they were interested in trying out the curriculum this year, to think about how they can use that with their departmentalized grades. That's why you'll see some are using it in grades 5 only. They're only departmentalized in 5. And then we have some that are departmentalized all the way down to 3rd grade. We do have one school using it K to 5. They had used it last year in 3 through 5. So PS 169 used it last year with 3 through 5, saw tremendous progress in the students, and then decided to use it in K to 2 as well. All of our middle schools, again, are using it in grades 6 through Algebra 1. So just know that if you have a student in middle school, they are using this curriculum. Oops, sorry. Here's some of the supports that schools who are either piloting or part of the New York City Solves for middle school, what they're receiving. They're currently all schools are getting 3 days of unit unpacking. So to really dive into the mathematics of each unit to support teachers in understanding the content and how it connects within a unit and across the grades even. Our elementary schools will get 3 days of professional learning. That's a deep dive into mathematical content and the pedagogy that's embedded within there. So things like, let's explore the math routines. Let's dive deeper and think about how the math connects across the grades. What models are being used throughout the curriculum. We'll also engage in some intervisitations to learn from each other. And then middle schools will receive 4 days of similar type of learning. And in middle schools, they're coming by grade. So each grade is coming together as a cohort to do that type of work. In our elementary schools, we have it 3 through 5. And then each school is receiving coaching. For elementary schools, they'll receive 4 days of in-school coaching from Amplified Desmos. This was a kind of what I'm looking for, like a benefit for us for piloting it, right? They gave us 4 days of free coaching in schools. Middle schools are getting a little bit more coaching because this is part of that New York City Solves initiative. They'll be receiving 8 to 14 days of in-school coaching. And then in middle schools, I'll also be engaging in mandatory fall and spring implementation checks as a part of New York City Middle School, New York City Solves. However, we all will also be visiting elementary schools and doing similar types of checks. How can families support this type of learning at home? Families can log on through student devices, so they can ask students to log on to Clever and then access the Amplified Desmos curriculum online and see the type of work that's happening within the classrooms. Just know elementary schools, there's not as much online learning, so asking them to bring home the workbook is more supportive for students. Homework may or may not be every night from Amplified Desmos. Sometimes I know they have iReady, but there are those practice problems. Really, when you're working together with your child for homework, emphasis on the learning that's happening in class and having those discussions about the mathematics. So when students are coming home, asking them, hey, how did you come up with that answer? What made you think that? How does that connect to what you learned today in school? Some support tips are, again, ask students to show you what they did in Desmos, encourage them to explain their thinking. And then there's also some family resources that I've linked at the end of this presentation. So here are some of the family resources from Amplify Desmos. This caregiver hub is amazing. It has every unit, every lesson within a unit has a summary for families, and then also some practice problems to work on, whether you want to do them yourself or do them with your child. And then there's also an answer key. If you wanted to just learn a little bit more about the rating it received, the curriculum received in Ed Reports, it's linked there. the rationale behind problem-based learning inside the classroom, and then also like what do we mean by a social collaborative classroom? Like what does that discussion-based learning look like? And then some success stories. Finally, just a few other resources that you can support math learning at home. These are just some links. Bedtime math is one of my favorite ones. If you want to just go in, if there's like a little story that you can talk about, provide you with questions. The questions are for lower grades all the way up to upper grades. So the questions vary based upon the age of your student, but still the same story. And then also Figure This is great. This is from NCTM. This provides with families questions, the types of questions you can ask to support with homework help. And if you're looking for some virtual manipulatives, Polypad comes from Amplify. That's an amazing resource as well. Just some updates from me. We do have we have two district math nights this year. We'll have the first one Thursday, January 22nd at PS 129. It was an amazing success last year. I think we had over 200 people in attendance. And then also we'll have one at the middle school. All grades are invited to attend at each of them. Just put some pictures of the activities from last year. You could see all the families were having so much fun engaging in those math games, lots of laughter going on, but also lots of math learning. And then a list of other games if you'd like to play that address mathematics. For me, I will also be conducting 3 family workshops this year that I really want to get at supporting families in understanding the concepts of math. So a lot of times it's like, how do I support with this? I can give you strategies, but maybe you also want some support in understanding the content. So our first session will be around understanding addition, subtraction, how that progresses through the grades. How do we move from just even identifying numbers all the way up to working with variables and equations. Same for multiplication and division. And then everybody's favorite, some learning around fractions, ratios, and proportional reasoning. We'll look at some of the amplified tasks from there as well. And I think that's pretty much the end of what I had. So I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Do any council members have any questions first?
Sure.
Regarding the workshop that you mentioned, you have flyers or anything to make flyers?
Yeah, so the district will make the flyers and then we'll post them on the website for families. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Mm-hmm.
So, this is new curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So compared to older curriculum, what are any differences?
I mean, this one is research-based.
Yeah, so what has happened over the course of time, especially in our middle schools, is they started with a base program that was then included with another base program, that was then included with another base program. And then before you know it, it became a combination of so many different programs that was not common amongst schools, but sometimes not even common amongst some of our teachers in certain cases. So the range of program varied from building to building, which for us here at the district and the context of New York City Solves, what was important for us, much like going and moving forward with New York City Reads, was to make sure that we establish a common curriculum across all of our schools so we can have common conversations around the mathematics. Where are our kids doing really well? Where are our kids struggling? And then we can engage in that discussion around in a common space rather than of so many different angles of approach into the mathematics. So that's one thing. The other thing that you'll notice is the entry point is a little bit different. The entry point is going to bring them through some type of a routine to really build their muscle. You know, some of the questions that were in the chat were around foundational type of mathematical skills. Those are all embedded as part of the work that's going to happen inside of this program. It's just done a little bit differently. It doesn't change the fact that kids still need to know how to add, multiply, subtract, and divide. All of those things are still embedded as part of the program. Just the approach is a little bit different. It's more experiential than where kids will have just follow these steps. And having a 9th and 11th grader that at times struggle in mathematics, one of the reasons why is because they learn very much so through follow this algorithm, follow this step. The problems that we have to solve are often not as simple as just follow steps. When we change the problem just a little bit, if they're not equipped to think through that problem, they wind up getting lost. And the algorithm doesn't necessarily help them because they can't do the thinking to help them come to a solution. So that's a big part of the difference that you'll see in these programs. So one of the links there that you'll also see from Ed Reports was the research that went into Amplify in the selection. For those of you that were not on the council last year, we had council members from the CEC participated in a district-wide math team that engaged in the analysis and review of 3 specific programs. One was iReady Mathematics, Illustrative Mathematics, and Amplified Mathematics. Those are the 3 programs within the New York City Solves I don't know, bundle, I guess. I don't even know what you were kind of referred to that. But part of that whole approach was visiting classrooms, seeing it implemented in classrooms, having the vendors come and present, and having folks give feedback in the process that's teachers and students alike, so that we can make a really informed decision around where we were going to go next as a community. Now, there was a question also in here about, am I worried about implementation of a new program and what its impact can be? Of course, you know, you always certainly worry about that, but I do believe that, you know, our teachers are equipped with what the math content is that has to be taught. The content is the content. This is just about organizing the information in ways that gives access to children across our school, from children that might be struggling math learners to children that are those that need a little bit more of that enrichment space, and it helps meet kids where they are with problems that allow them to really enter in different ways. So there was a lot of connection with our parent community, student community, staff, and building leaders to make this choice. But always, anytime there's a new program, much like we did with New York City Reads, you get a little bit nervous about implementation. But we have been seeing progress, and in district, while we didn't necessarily grow by the 6% we did in reading, we did grow a little bit in math with just under 70% performance in math, which says that we're doing okay, but we have a lot more room to grow. And it's for those kids that currently are not meeting the mark that we're really working on and towards. Other questions around devices. So we do have some schools that are a 2-to-1 scenario, but not all. So any issues with those types of things and needing of those types of resources, that's just about connecting with the building leader. If there's an issue there, you can certainly contact us at the district office, and we can certainly support to make sure that you guys have the access that you need. So I just saw a comment. My child is in grade 4, is enjoying Amplify and Sharp Contrast to another program.
My daughter also.
Also, can we
Awesome.
obtain workbooks? Beth, workbooks for the Amplify?
What about, yes,
Yes.
all grades?
Yeah,
Mhm.
all grades have workbooks that are associated with, you know, and sometimes I think, you know, because we wind up showcasing a lot of the digital platform, which, by the way, there was another question around assessment. Assessment is embedded, and in fact, that's one of the things that I like about the program the most, is that it gives teachers feedback as students are learning, going through the problems. So it's not, let me wait to the end, I see an exit ticket. It's through the implementation that they're seeing how many children were successful or not, what was their thinking in terms of solving this, how do I help child A versus child B get to the end goal that you're hoping for. So we have seen a lot of students provide us with positive feedback thus far. We're also going to continue to grow with that as time goes on, through a partnership that we do have with a research organization to help us gather additional supports for our teachers and students. I think I touched base on most of them. Let me go back to these questions.
I was gonna touch on that because I know my daughter is using it in fourth grade this year, and I know the teacher said we're learning alongside her as she's learning, but we haven't seen any of the books that they're using. So I think that's where that comes into play, because the books have not come home at fall from what I've seen.
Yeah, so when I meet with teachers, I'll share some of that feedback also. They should, in the lower grades, they should be able to at least be posting the family resources for each unit, so you can see what each lesson is within the unit. I'll tell you why they most likely don't want to send them home. They're heavy. There's 2 volumes and they're like super thick, the workbooks. And so with all the computers and things like that, like personally, I would not want my child carrying that home. But thinking about then what does that school to home connection for mathematics look like? How can we support the families in understanding what's happening with the students? And then also have a sense as to what our students how they're doing in the mathematics curriculum. They should, I don't want to misspeak because I know there's a little bit of differences between elementary and middle school, but I feel like they should be able to also download workbook pages and post them to a Google Classroom so that you can also see the workbook lessons on the Google Classroom. So I'll make that suggestion to families so that to schools so that families can see what students are doing.
Yeah, and there was also a question in here just about, for schools that aren't necessarily piloting it, we're connecting with all of our teachers in terms of training. We have 2 Elizabeths, one goes by Beth, the other one goes by Liz. They happen to both be our math team. But both of them are working collaboratively to make sure that teachers across our grades are receiving access to training, so that we are hitting the ground running wherever it is that we are within this space. Certainly different from those that are getting a chance to implement it today versus those that might have to wait until next year. The entry point is a little bit different, but our goal for all of our schools moving forward is that we provide them opportunity going into next school year to practice a little bit so that they're ready to go for September, when we hopefully have implementation for all schools going into next school year. And I say hopefully because we do have to see how it gets rolled out through the elementary school level. The reason why it's a pilot is because right now New York City Solves for us is at the middle school level. But we had some schools that were interested in piloting it based on the feedback we got from kids and from staff, which is why they brought it down to some of our elementary school grades.
And the curriculum is really just a tool that can be used to support us in implementing those math shifts that I started with. So even our elementary schools that are not implementing it, they're using things like mathematical instructional routines to support that sense making with their students and to support those discussions. We're also having conversations around what that asset-based support looks like using the curriculum that you have. So all of those things still live within the schools that maybe aren't using Amplify. It's just that sometimes it puts a little bit more work on the teachers to go find some of those things. And so the curriculum does some of that heavy lifting for the teachers, which is nice as well. So.
Is there any other questions?
It was just a couple about the one really mostly about the printout between home and the workbooks and making sure that there's the connection between home and school.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we'll have to make sure that we're reviewing to make it clear across all of our buildings. That's great feedback for that. Thank you so much. And listen, yes, there are digital resources that are present, but it does not mean that's all that the kids are going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean that 100% of the work is going to be done on a computer. There are going to be a balance between the both. And just so all of our families know, our students are held accountable to completing an assessment in April, May that is on the computer. They do need to know how to make sure that they can do things with the tech tools in order to be successful on the state exams at the end of the school year. So part of that is also building the muscle of our kids to make sure that they feel really good and confident using the devices when the time comes. So, in terms of devices, our schools are typically in a good place. If you're experiencing otherwise, that was a question in here, you can certainly let us know. We're consistently tapping into our schools to see where they are with resources. So those you can connect with us on at the district level. You can reach out to Jenny from our team. Lewis, if you can put Jenny's contact information in the chat. and we can certainly support.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Beth. So just to check with the council real quick before I do anything, right now, the person from Foodstream does not seem to be online or here. Is everyone okay with allowing our borough president representative that's here to speak? Anybody have any issues with that? So I can have her come speak instead. Okay, awesome. Catherine? I'll be very brief, I promise.
We don't know where she is.
Good to start.
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Catherine Zapata. I'm the Borough President's Director of Education and Youth Services. I'm very excited to be here on his behalf. We are making our rounds across our CECs, and I want to congratulate and relay our ongoing acknowledgement of our CEC appointments this year. We have Mr. Stephen Kendall and we have Mr. Ken Zhao. So we're very excited to have them join you for the next term. To represent the borough president here. A number of things we've been working on, but we just held a high school fair where a lot of your families came out, so we're very excited for that. We also released our fiscal year 2026 allocations. In total, this district in the past 3 years has received $5 million. I do want to leave my card with you all. We do routine tours of schools and really want to acknowledge that there are some pressing needs across the borough. So if there's a school that you feel like I should relay that to the borough president, please feel free to reach out to me. The fiscal year 2027 application for Resolution A, which is the grant that principals will fill out at the beginning of next year, will be out January 1st. This year, the borough president did add an amendment, you could say, where each principal will need a PTA letter of support for their priorities. So that is, in addition, we will have parent workshops and community stakeholder briefings and participation for you all to know what that looks like. In addition, we're hosting a college fair tomorrow at John Bond High School. So we're very excited for that as well. And just having working partnership with you all, please feel free to let us know how our office can be more supportive, but also how we can partner in collaborative events. And thank you for having me as well, Eden and Superintendent D'Antona. It's always a pleasure. So feel free to reach out. We leave it to our appointments to relay any ongoing issues, but thank you once again.
And we want to thank you guys for actually helping us fill those seats, because I will tell you, in how many years, Shirley, now, we have not had borough president seats filled.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, we're glad. We're glad.
We're not having two seats full and filled.
Thank you. Oh, you know how to get.
I got you, me.
Good to see you.
Okay, so, yes. Dr. Mike's gonna love me, but I'm gonna put his timer on.
Oh, Lord, I'm doing time.
We're gonna turn the board to Dr.
Oh, my God, you really has a timer.
Messed up.
Really has a timer out. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure right now. Hold on.
Last one too.
Hold on. All right.
I'm giving him a chance to get started before I press it.
All right. Hold on. Let me get. See, now you got me so concerned here. I'm in the wrong slide deck. Sure, I'm in the right one. Okay.
Okay. Fluid.
Okay.
Go.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate thank you so much for the comments and the questions in the chat. We'll make sure that we review any perhaps that I didn't answer in the process. Those that mentioned the whole notion of device issues, I do encourage you, Louis, from my team, put in the chat Jenny's contact information from our team as well. So you're more than welcome to reach out to us, and we will connect with your schools to get to the bottom of what resources you do need. So thank you for your contributions tonight. I appreciate it. So a couple of things that we always do in our district meetings is this space of connection before content. We talk a little bit about district goal updates around baseline parent survey, student SEL survey. I'm also going to give you guys some updates around enrollment, when those enrollment dates are, because they are important for you guys to keep in mind. Now, this, because I am on a clock, we always do this little getting to know you type of space, just with conversation cards, and we're asking all of our schools to connect with our kids on a routine basis, where we're engaging in conversation cards and things that we're calling connection before content. Actively connecting our kids in relationship building before they begin any of our work, hoping to do this at least once a week, where our kids are learning to work with one another and engage in relationship building types of conversations. So here is just a very small entry. Is there something you are afraid to try, and why? And don't mind my little Bitmoji don't panic guy that we have on there. But what we would do here in small groups or in partnerships would just add, think and reflect on this little question, and then kind of answer out loud. So because of the clock, I will just share mine. If anyone else wants to share theirs, no problem. But one of the things that always the idea of it always made me a little bit nervous is the idea of skydiving. It's not something that I don't think that I would ever necessarily get myself to be able to do. I know people love it. I know that people really enjoy it. But for me, when I'm thinking about something that I would be afraid to try, that would be one of them for myself. I don't know if anyone else has a quick one that comes to mind. You're welcome to share. Before we move over. Yep. Zip lining.
Why? Because I'll be like, oh, they do the inspection this month. Why me? So zip lining is a hard no.
Yeah, bungee jumping too.
Bungee jumping, zip lining, and jumping out of
I
the
was
plane.
thinking
So,
about-
and I'm not, wouldn't even say I'm afraid of heights. I'm not necessarily afraid of heights, but.
Oh, you got roller coaster in the track.
So listen, these little activities aren't intended to be long, but in class it can promote and provoke a nice little chat amongst kids, and more importantly amongst our adults as well. It's not just about our children; it's about everyone growing in developing positive relationships. This is something that's really important to me, and something that I'm asking our schools to make important to themselves as well. So this month we had a number of things. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's National Principals Month, and National Bullying Prevention Month. So for all of us that have folks that are close to us, or that we know that where breast cancer is directly connected to you and your family, there's certainly an opportunity to keep those folks in our minds, but also to kind of raise that awareness to make sure that all do what's necessary to try to keep themselves good and safe. Huge shout out to our principals, specifically here in District 25. They work incredibly hard for the kids in this community, and I appreciate all of them for what they do. And the space around bullying prevention, we know, is so important for our kids and our community, to make sure that, and folks that are on Zoom, what you wouldn't have seen is that this collective group meets with me about a half hour before every session, and what we've been talking about is how are we going to promote the space of wellness, kindness, and community across all of our schools, because of the importance of making sure that our kids do what's right by each other and themselves. So big shout out for all of that. September was National Hispanic Heritage Month. We were able to honor and uplift history, culture, and the contributions of our Hispanic Americans, especially in New York City. So schools across the district engage in a variety of different activities to really celebrate Hispanic heritage. This is something that we will connect with over the course of time throughout the year. I'd like to bring in some of the images of what's happening inside of our schools and bring them to you. Upcoming events, we are doing a virtual parent workshop series for our English language learners. Wednesday, November 12th. Will be available in English and in Spanish. There'll be Spanish translation. And Wednesday, November 19th. Focus on this is really around supporting literacy for our students, but for our parents to have access to conversations around how to support their children in becoming really strong readers, which ultimately is one of our biggest goals as a district, is that all of our children, become successful readers across their experience here in District 25. Special education, we have a virtual parent workshop series as well. Nathan was here for last month's CEC. This is an extension of that meeting. He'll be doing that session on Monday, November 24th. And this is around understanding your child's IEP. Parents that are on this call, I can't impress upon you enough. If it's not yourself, if it's someone that you have in your family that's not sure about the IEP process, please make sure that they join. They don't necessarily have to ask questions if they're concerned about asking questions, but it's really good information. We have all of last year's up there as well. They're all archived videos. We do it again anyway, just in the event that we have other parents that have questions that weren't able to be there last year. So this is an ongoing routine and expectation for me to make sure that our families understand what's going on with the IEP process. It can be a little bit intimidating if we're not sure. So asking questions is really, really important. We are also, as Beth mentioned, going to be having a virtual math parent workshop around sense making and math at home. Again, encourage you. We always get a really, really nice turnout for these sessions. We do try to make sure that we always have translation support accessible for any of our families that need it. So I encourage you to participate. What you don't see on here, because the date's not formalized, but every year we do a Thanks for Giving walk with Diana from our team, where we encourage families to bring canned goods, and then we engage in a little bit of a walk around Bound Park, is where we've done it the last 2 years. We do plan to do that again. We just have to solidify the date, so more to come on that. Enrollment updates. How am I on time?
You're good.
Okay, good.
22 minutes still.
All right, good. Fall 2026 high school admissions timeline. So Tuesday, October 7th, yesterday, high school applications. Whoops, let me just narrow this so that I can see. High school application, LaGuardia application, specialized high school admission test registration opens. Friday, October 31st, SHSAT registration closes. Wednesday, December 3rd, high school and LaGuardia applications close. And Thursday, March 5th, 2026, high school offers will be released. For those of you on the call and everyone in this room, I will revisit this every single month until enrollment processes are done. The reason I do that is to make sure that if someone wasn't here today, they hear it again, so that we raise the awareness as much as possible around when do I apply for certain things. So you're going to hear me talk about this on a monthly basis. Middle school admissions timeline. Wednesday, October 15th is the opening for middle school applications. Monday, November 3rd, deadline to register for Mark Twain and District 21 talent tests. Friday, December 12th, middle school application closes. Wednesday, April 15th, middle school offers are released. Kindergarten. Kindergarten admissions Tuesday, December 9th, kindergarten application opens. Friday, January 23rd, kindergarten applications close. And then Tuesday, March 31st, kindergarten offers are released. 3K pre-K, Wednesday, January 14th, 3K pre-K applications open. February 27th, 3K pre-K applications close. And then later in the year in May 12th, pre-K is offered, and 19th, 3K offer are released. G&T, grades 1 through 4, Tuesday, April 21st, G&T upper grade application opens. Friday, May 8th, G&T upper grade application close. And then Thursday, June 11th, G&T upper grade offers are released. Okay. Gathering data to support our next steps as a district. So a few of our goals, and this is something that we just went over during our district leadership team meeting, is around gathering some feedback from our community. So parents, those of you on the CEC and parents that are on the call, we do have a series of survey questions that we will be sending out to you. This is just in the form of a Google slide. You'll be getting it in the form of a Google form to gather feedback from you around current experiences in terms of parent engagement, your ability to attend sessions, whether it's around reading, social emotional learning, math, or school-based events. Are you feeling comfortable about engaging with your school? All those real important questions that we'd like to know. And part of that is bringing it back to the district leadership team, as well as me sharing here two things. What did the data say? But more importantly, what is it that we're going to do to help support additional outreach and connections to our family community? One thing that I can tell you that I do as much as I possibly can is when I see the information, we make decisions to support it. The reason why we have so many district-led family events is because of what I see inside of the survey information. It's not just about what schools do. I look at it as what is it that I can do to also add to the work, which is why you see so many of these different events that are coming from the district level. And you'll continue to see them as the year goes on. This is here just for your information. What I do encourage you to do, if you have any questions that you don't see there that you think would be, appropriate or maybe that we should ask, let me know. If you can do that sooner rather than later, because I do plan to send this out within the next couple of weeks to start gathering some feedback from parents. We will be doing this 3 times this year. We're going to align our surveys, the parent survey and the student survey, which I'm going to talk to you about in a moment, with our 3 windows with which our children take their screening assessments. So we have a beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of year data set, with the goal that by the time we start, it should be looking the same as the way that we finish. That's what the hope is, that we start seeing some progress based on any areas that are deemed as a need moving forward. But I do encourage you, we just did this with the DLT. I've already made a couple of changes to the survey based on the feedback that was shared there. And we will do that based on any feedback that you guys might have as well in regards to the parent survey. Student survey. So across all of our schools, children in grades 3 through 8 are being asked to participate in an SEL survey. This survey covers the 5 core competencies of social emotional learning. 1 around self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, and relationship building. This survey will also be implemented 3 times throughout the year so that we can gather feedback around what are some of the supports that our kids might need in order to improve some of their perceptions in this space. One of the components that is typically the one that makes me really focused on wellness, kindness, and community is that our middle schoolers at times do indicate that some of their peers do not necessarily, there's not that mutual respect across all of their peers. So part of our work and our action plan as a district is to make sure that we're doing as many of these connection before content activities as we can to really bolster those social interactions between our children. So you're going to see that with frequency in the district, as well as a greater emphasis on the implementation of Mind Up, which is our social emotional learning program here in District 25. Was that it? Yeah, okay. SLT training. This is just for all of our parents to also be aware, whether you're on the SLT or not. We are organizing our training session. This is for all parents that are on the SLT, all of our teachers that are on SLT, all of our building leaders that are on SLT. We have a tentative date scheduled for Monday, November 3rd. We will likely do this session twice, one at 4 o'clock, one at 7 o'clock. And the content of these sessions will be as follows. One, Eden and I will be doing a little intro and greeting around connection before content. You'll see it again everywhere I go. Wellness, kindness, and community. So we'll be bringing what we've talked about during our district and CEC collaboration to our SLTs so that we're having this constant loop of discussion around the things that we believe are important. So that by the end of the year, we're in a really, really solid place around where we want to be as a district community, not just as a school community, but as a district community. So the more that we can engage and have this feedback loop around the work, the more likely we're going to see a positive outcome across all of our schools. So you're going to see that during this meeting. SLT 101 and the Chancellor's regulations, those will also be covered so that everyone knows the governing part of school leadership teams. So that will be discussed. Progress monitoring, really, really important, whether you are a parent that's on SLT or not. Where is it that our schools are? So part of this is making sure that what you'll see from me that I model and expect is around the idea of a state of the district. So all of our schools, because of that, will do things like a state of the school. and they'll share the current progress of their schools of the school against their goals. Similarly, that's what is going to be shared during the SLT training. MTSS expectations. This is really important. This particular set of slides will be modified based on what we're currently doing this year. So we can communicate with all of our school leadership team members what we're expecting our schools to think about and do for children that are falling outside that sphere of success, as well as how are we addressing the instructional core for all children in the most important tier, which is tier 1. And that's instruction that all children receive. And then lastly, it'll be around school budgets. So that's just an FYI for all of you. Another layer of this, just so that you know, there is something that's called the biennial review that school leadership teams would get surveyed. This hasn't come out in a bit, but it's something that I do because I feel that it's important for us to get the most current information. We have new SLT members, and what this survey really calls for and talks about are things that are really important for SLTs to do. Is the progress monitoring happening? Are we functioning as a team? Are we coming to consensus together? All of those things that we want in terms of a real solid SLT meeting is present in this survey. We will take that data, we bring it back to our district leadership team, and then we make decisions to help support our schools to make a really, really robust experience for all of those that are on the team. So more to follow. This is really more informational for you than anything else. Knowing our students as readers. This I shared with you last month. We still have a number of our students testing, but we're in a place where I can share just generic. I don't want to share percentages yet because we're not done. But K-2, again, is Acadians, 3 to 8, iReady for reading. K-8 is iReady for mathematics. And then Algebra 1 Regents students are taking the MAP. These happen 3 times a year, as I mentioned. And where we are currently right now with iReady reading, similar to, oops, that's a mistake. Hold on. This is 1%. Sorry, let me fix that. I don't know how I did that. iReady reading is similar to last year. It's about 1% higher than the baseline from last year. iReady math, similar again to 2024-25, 3% higher currently. And I say currently because we still have hundreds of children that still haven't completed it yet. I'm just giving you a snapshot of where we are next month. We better advance that timer so I have more to chat. The 3% higher currently in math, and then Acadians is a little 3% lower than where we were last year at this time. And primarily the space that is a little bit of a tick lower than last year's is kindergarten. So the kindergarten entry right now is a little bit lower than what last year's kindergarten entered with. But I'll give you more details on that when all are completed. We still have about 1,000 kindergartners that have yet to test, so that may or may not be true when it's all said and done. So the district literacy plan, I have this in here. There is a link. I'm not necessarily going to go through this all, but I will just show you a couple of things in here that are really important and part of a commitment that I have this year in terms of growth. So we are going to continue our work with New York City Reads and our focus on explicit instruction. This is an important piece of our work. This is now year 3 of HMH implementation. We are in a far different place now than we were 2 years ago. We have a great deal more knowledge about the program, expectations within the program. So for me, one of the places that we're going to continue to learn and grow through is making sure that our delivery around explicit instruction is supporting all of our learners inside of our classrooms. And to do that, the emphasis that I have, the point of emphasis that I have this year and point of our focus is around making sure that we have a real good knowledge of our standards, a real good knowledge of where our kids are in terms of need, and then a real good knowledge of what the resources are embedded within our instructional program to support our kids within day-to-day lessons, not necessarily about the interventions, but this is in class, tier 1 instruction. What am I doing to think about the kids that are inside of my classrooms to help them meet grade level content? So that's just a small little part of what I wanted to share. It includes kind of our goal setting and the areas that we're focused on as a district are present in here for you to review as you so choose. Oh, wrong slide again, sorry. And lastly, these are just our DCEP goals. These I will keep up here consistently for your reference. We reviewed them during last month. I'm not going to necessarily read them to you again, but our focus, as I mentioned, is around explicit instruction, making sure that our targeted groups are meeting the expectations that we're hoping for. We made a bunch of progress last year, but we have a lot more work to do. A group that we're really paying attention to significantly are our English language learners, or also known as multilingual learners. We are piloting a program for 10 of our elementary schools. The program is called English 3D. The focus on that is to really elevate our entering and emerging students as fast as we possibly can. Of the 5,600 English language learners we have in the district, 4,500 of them are within their first couple of years of service. Right, so these are our children that are just coming here that we need to continue to build the language for. So that's what we're really intent on doing, and you'll hear me talk about that a lot throughout the year. Again, student-to-student relationships for priority 2. I mentioned that. Mathematics we've already talked about. Civics for all. This I mentioned during our last session. Really quick, it's about making sure that there is Project Soapbox that our kids get to engage in engaging in research, and then being able to share a speech with their peers, and then hopefully much wider than that and getting to the citywide competition, as well as the Take Action Project. That is something I'm really excited about to continue to build as a district community. We did really great work last year and looking forward to doing really even better work this year with the goal of earning 1 point to the Seal for Civic Readiness for all of our 8th graders. That's what my intent is there. And Safer College program for all of our families K through 4. We're looking to get an increase of about 10%. We have only 39% of our families last year that participated in the Safer College program. We want to increase that by a minimum, hopefully, of 10%. Participation allows $400 to be added to a savings account for our community. And lastly, chronic absenteeism. I will say, I know that there's concern about attendance. Our attendance rate right now is 95.5% here in District 25. We're the second highest in New York City. We are 0.4 away, and my goal is to continue to strive to be the highest attendance in New York City. Our chronic absenteeism rates are at 11%. That's down from around 19% from last year. Now, I'll say that now.
The better time of year.
We wind up running on a roller coaster. So this is where we do need all of our parents to really be very connected on this as much as we possibly can. As winter comes, get those hands a washing, keep those fingers out of the mouths as much as we possibly can, because we know that the flu and all those other fun things wind up happening too. Because we do know that the more our kids are in school, the greater likelihood they are to learn and meet expectations. When they're not in school, it does impact. While we're having a good deal of success now, even 11% is a lot, folks. 11% of over 23,000 children. We're talking 2,300 plus children that are still chronically absent here in District 25, right? So when you hear 11%, it sounds okay, right? Comparatively speaking, again, amongst the best in New York City. But there's still a lot of room there that we have to grow in so that our kids are as successful as possible. And lastly, for those that are on the call, take advantage of you being on today. I know that we lost some of you, but if you're still on, there's a Padlet there. We are still looking for feedback around defining what wellness, kindness, and community means to you as a parent, what you would want it to mean for us as a district. So we encourage you to open that Padlet, share some of your feedback to help us really grow in our conversation around how to make that a district-wide expectation. And that, am I good?
Yeah,
How did I do?
good.
Did I mean it?
Under.
Oh, under. This is
You still had it.
this is good. This is good. I talked really fast, so
There
apologies.
are some questions though
Okay.
in the chat, if you want to take a look, the SEL one. That were not answered. I don't know if there's any others, and then I'll see if the council has.
Oh, so in terms of counseling, if there are any red flags, certainly our counselors and our school support will certainly be there to connect in any way necessary for a child. So the goal is to provide us with support around what do we need to do in tier 1, meaning inside of our classrooms. Tier 2, are there any children that are showing any at-risk types of concerns? And certainly tier 3, or anything that's more extensive. The survey is not going to necessarily tell us that as much as other behaviors and feedback that we get from families. This is really just to give us a snapshot around perceptions of children. It's not it's not a diagnostic necessarily. This is just a child's perception of self. So we will use it to kind of help organize our programming. In terms of the SLT, yes, I did receive feedback around will it be virtual? Yes, we will do it virtually. I love in person, but I do know that we have lots of needs amongst our families and our staff that we will do it multiple times in a virtual setting. You'll be able to choose one or the other. You don't have to do both. But yes, we will make sure that it's virtual for you. Was there any other?
I think that was it. I think Egypt got the other stuff because I helped her answer those. Does anybody in the council have any questions? So, no, so this is a district-wide SLT training for any SLT members throughout the district, and an invite will go out for that.
Oh, yeah. Yes. The SLT training is only for SLT parents. It is not a district-wide where every parent needs to feel compelled to go. This is just for school leadership teams. We do it every year. Feedback that we received in the past is that we do it early rather than late. One year we did it in January, and then some of our parents said, "Oh, I would have really loved to know that information in earlier in the year." So that's why we're doing that. And Mr. Horan, I see your comment. It doesn't work for most parents. I totally get that, which is why we made the switch. But there is something about a personal connection that you get to make in person that I think sometimes we often miss, because of that. So I do hear you. That's why we made the change. But the reason I like in person is because you make that personal connection with someone that you can't necessarily do through the boxes on a screen. But thank you, guys. I appreciate you as always. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of them that you have. Yeah.
So on the subject of trying to stay healthy in the winter, I was wondering the school buildings, if the circulation has been sort of tested there to see if they're preventing the buildup of germs in the air.
Yeah, so our custodians, custodial engineers, facilities managers, they're always making sure they're taking stock of what's going on in their buildings. If there are any concerns with air quality or anything along those lines, those are things that they attend to as soon as they possibly can. But yeah, it's not something that that I can give you, like, say, this is room 101, this is when they were tested kind of thing, but they do attend to that throughout the year.
They do test it specifically.
If it's necessary, they don't just test every room. If they see that there is an issue going on in a classroom, teachers expressing concern about the air quality or concerns about what's happening in classrooms, we have everyone is getting sick, they'll make sure that they do their appropriate cleaning and stuff and things along those lines. But specific room testing does not necessarily happen they're not testing room on a daily basis, but their ventilation certainly all the time. Yeah.
Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Pike.
Sure, my pleasure.
I'm gonna make things very simple for my report. There's been emails, council's received multiple emails where we've been involved in going to the PEP meetings. We've been going and looking at some of the resolutions that they're passing. So just to give some feedback there, that's going on, and we will be kind of slowly looking at that as a council as well. There's also a lot of district-wide events that are constantly coming up for us, and also overall for the schools, even out of our district. So we're continuously looking at all these trainings that people are jumping on from the council. So just wanted to share that with the public. Other than that, I don't have anything else right now. Do we have anyone for public speaking? Okay, is there anyone on Zoom that wants to raise their hand that had wanted to speak? Okay. Perfect. So if that is the case, somebody want to motion to adjourn from Shirley? Anybody want to second it? 8:33. We're gonna take 2 minutes and then we're gonna start our business meeting. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, call our business meeting to order at 8:39. Everybody ready?
Okay.
8:39.
Let's go.
Egypt, I'm gonna start your roll call for you. Shirley,
Present.
Stephanie,
Present.
100%.
Fabiola,
Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Shauna,
fine.
Angela,
Here.
Amy, Christine,
Present.
Stephen,
Present.
Vincent,
President.
Kent,
President.
and I am here as well. Thank you. Okay, if everyone could take a look at the calendar and business meeting minutes from last month, we can look to adopt those minutes. If anyone has any concerns or anything, let me know. I know I caught one spelling error. We corrected it beforehand, so it should all be good to go, but just let me know. Does anybody see anything of concern on the calendar minutes?
No.
Could we get somebody that was, is everyone good with adopting those minutes?
Yeah.
What about the business?
That's good. That's good.
Okay, minutes are adopted. Shauna, you have a copy of the budget there, if you want to do your treasurer report.
Yes. Now that we have an approved budget, money is being spent. I received my first reimbursement check yesterday, so.
Got two already.
In mail or?
In the mail, it'll come in the mail.
Oh,
I just got mine over the last
got
2
my
days
mail.
also.
Yeah.
So, yes, will start seeing those.
It'll start coming in slowly as, you know, they get.
Okay, so you could just go over what's there.
Just read this to everybody.
Yeah, you can read it out.
So far reimbursements, we spent $2,500, the expenses, that's $88, that's food, I assume.
Mhm.
Equipment repairs, but $588 was to fix Egypt.
And it is fixed.
Thank God.
Because it looks like.
Awesome. Okay. So next is school visit updates. Did anybody have any school visits yet?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go around. If you did, just let us know what school you visited and what date, so I can mark that down, and then just give us a little update about your visit.
Sure.
So Stephen, you're gonna go first.
I visited the District 25 Pre-K Center in College Point. Give me 1 second, I will tell you the date. My brain is a little blank. I visited on this Monday, 27th.
The 6th?
6/6. Yeah.
I was like, this Monday.
The wrong date. Yes, this past Monday, the 6th,
Okay.
I went and visited there. The biggest concerns that were presented to me while I was there, but they do have a bathroom that's pretty busted up in the basement, like including, I took a bunch of pictures of it, including like the cabinets being duct taped shut. And like it is in need of a pretty massive repair, and it's the only bathroom that the kids have to use in the lower floor when they are at the gym. So that was a pretty big concern. Like I said, I took pictures. I'm happy to share them. Besides, that was the biggest concern that was presented to me, was the need to repair.
Okay.
Just while we're on me really quick, I have scheduled for PS 130 coming up, but I've reached out to PS 29 and PS 129 several times to no reply.
Have you heard from them, Egypt, at all? 129.
129 and 129. I've contacted the parent coordinators directly, and also Egypt did on my
Right,
behalf.
yeah, so I want to see if she maybe got replies in the CEC box, just in case. If you guys do not see replies, please check with Egypt to make sure that she did not get any replies, because sometimes they might reply to the CEC inbox, and we don't know that until she knows. So check with her when we get to that. I will, you can always check. If you do not hear from the parent coordinator still, though, we have a copy of a principals list. I can get that out to everybody. Some of us got it this past Friday, but I will get a copy out to everybody. I'll scan it in and send it out. Okay, perfect. Who? You have an email with them on it, you can respond to them. Yeah. Who was the next one that did a school visit?
I did.
Angela, where'd you go?
I went to the other District 25 pre-K in Whitestone this morning.
Okay,
And the two structural needs are the playground needs fixing and or repair. If the padding is stripping, it's Z100.
I feel like we just did that bathroom, the playground
not the-
recently, I think.
The playground, I saw it, I should have the picture that I did. But the padding around is stripping. And I personally think like a kid could get scratched, like any kind of like, just skin abrasion or something.
Which is why I want the principal list out to them.
That's so good. Angelique's is not it. She's been out. So that's probably why you get
That could
this
be
one.
Okay,
But that's one, and the other one is at the front door, there's a metal frame which had an awning on it at the time, no longer has an awning. So they would like the awning, like a new awning put on with proper signage, but if they can't do that, then take down the metal frame and just proper signage.
got it.
Personally, I would do the awning and signage, but I don't know.
Okay, Stephanie, did you have any?
Shelter, if the awning could be put on, it's shelter if someone comes early and it's just standing there, can't get in.
Right,
That's why I think that would
Okay.
probably be better.
Stephanie, did you have any visits yet?
No, I have one for this month on October 21st. I'll be going to PS20 on October 21st.
Okay, so we'll cover that in next month.
Next month, yeah.
Shirley, did you have any? I have not gone yet. I was supposed to go to 169 in Bell tomorrow, but that got postponed, so I'm going a different day. And 242, I'm working with them to collaborate on a specific date right now. We do need to discuss schools after, but I will go back to that.
So I'm gonna make a visit to PS21 next week, Thursday. If anybody wants to join, feel free to join me because PS21 school was one of the three schools that we selected to report to SEA. And I spoke with the principal and he told me that it's been almost a year, but nothing has been done. And did not hear anything from SEA. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna form a subcommittee to track down the SEA process so that they could get there and get it done. The chief staff from Councilwoman Nika Palladino, they reach out to me because they do also want to help on PS21 because the issue is auditorium chairs. I graduated from PS21. I feel like that chair is the same chair.
Is your name on one of those chairs? Is your name on one of those chairs?
Because it's pretty dangerous because a couple of the chairs are broken and they had to put around that do not enter that yellow tape around. And kids are going around. And as you know, those chairs are wood, but on the side is the wood, metal, so it was sticking out. And they utilized that auditorium for the book reading event and stuff like that. So they can, it's not just one chair, it's a couple spots. So they want to do a whole auditorium chair replacement basically. So that was one of our top 3 issue, but SCA did not contact them. So I do want to, we could form a subcommittee to track down and kind of how we could help the schools to get in touch with SCA so that we could expedite the SCA to, start the project. At least something. We need to hear something from them. So that's my thing. So I will be visiting next Thursday, 9:30. So if you could join, please feel free to join. And also PS32, I'll be making, coordinator, she reached out to me, so I believe she's setting up something for me next week too, but I'll share so that anybody who wants to join and who could make it, that will be, feel free to come. So we could do it together. That's it.
Okay, Fabiola, you have any visits yet?
No, but I'm going to get some between October 14th. So.
Okay. And check with Egypt when you get a chance, because I think some responses might have gone to the CEC inbox, but you did not see any responses.
Okay.
So before you leave tonight, just check on that. Donna,
I haven't had any visits yet. One of the schools was planning on their next SLT schedule. The other two we haven't back from.
Vincent, have you had any visits yet?
I think graduation is just 44 the October 28th, which is their PTA meeting.
Okay. Amy?
No.
Nothing yet, okay. So before we move on from school visits, just because we do have, Kent has now joined us. We have some of us that had taken on 4 schools. I am going through that list right now. If you have 4 schools on your list, can you just raise your hand for me?
Oh, man, those went up fast.
Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have, okay. We need to give,
We could give him 4. I can give.
well, no, there's 5 of us here. We're not giving him 5 schools,
Okay, you can have.
or 6 schools, actually, I should say.
Welcome,
Is there
Ken.
one that you haven't gotten in touch with that?
Yeah.
If you want to hand one off to Ken? And let me know which one it is. And let Egypt know.
In my camp, because I also, you know, the breakfast, I reach out to all the principals.
Okay, so we'll leave you.
They got all.
You want
They
this
know.
list?
Yeah, finally, thanks. Yes.
Yeah, I have the list in front of me also. So Shirley's gonna leave her 4. I'll stay where I'm at. I'm fine with that.
I'll give mine. You can have.
Oh, so on this, it's all our schools are there.
Yeah, it's actually on the minutes also.
Brilliant. Yeah, she's brilliant.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you.
That's all Egypt.
Ken's gonna take 29.
29,
Yeah.
okay,
If I give Ken my page, he owes me one.
okay. Angela, which one was it you wanted to give over?
25 MS 379.
379, where am I? Oh, College Point Collaborative, okay. College Point Collaborative,
379.
near the bottom of the list,
It's middle school, I guess.
okay, and then,
The
do you want to give one?
principal, the,
Go for it,
Yes.
The
Wait, let me
care
ask
coordinator
you.
is Sharif Byron Buza.
because if not you, then Fabiola.
Should be there. MS 379.
I'll let him know.
In the middle,
It's near the bottom of the school list, 379, it's 4 up from the bottom.
yeah.
29, and then we're talking about 379 right now.
That's the one you gave, 179.
Over there, I don't think so, right?
You should,
S1.
You're gonna see Q, you're gonna see 25Q first,
Oh, yeah.
and then 379.
and then.
If you go 4 up from the bottom,
MS 379 will be next.
No,
do you see it, Stephen?
I'm looking. Yeah, right here.
Perfect,
It actually doesn't say 3790.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why.
It just has the name.
that's why, okay,
College Point Collaborative.
yeah,
Oh, 25Q, 379, okay.
okay, and then
Call tomorrow.
Stephanie, what was the other one?
29 will call you tomorrow.
Ken, do you feel comfortable with, which one do I have? I'm sorry, you have my, MS 219?
It's K through 8.
K through 8.
It's right by Queens College.
PSS MS,
Oh,
that's
that's
why,
there.
it's PSMS,
Okay, it's by Queens College. Are you near Queens College?
it's the elementary and middle.
That's fine, yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Near by you or near you?
Yeah, not.
You sure? Okay.
219,
219.
All right. I got
Awesome.
3, yay.
okay,
Did it.
Thank you,
so we'll
everybody.
keep ours as is. Okay, so Ken,
Yeah.
just so you're aware, Egypt's going to send out a message to those parent coordinators, letting them know that you have taken over those schools.
Okay.
And she'll connect you with them, so you could arrange site visits.
Okay.
So that's the one part I wanted to make sure we did tonight. So in regards to our November meeting, I was just looking through the book and I was talking with Dr. Mike earlier.
Back to the school visit stuff. Was there any update about the parent coordinator for 214? If there was one now?
There isn't yet. As of the other day, there wasn't yet. I spoke to the principal. I'll get you in touch with the principal though.
Yeah. they-
And Sean, I
yeah, they
connected
have
you
to
with
connect you
193,
guys
right?
anyway if they're gonna hire someone.
You saw that? Okay, I sent the email to you that day, I think, before the night ended. I promised her to, I would loop her in. So I'll get you connected though. So for November, there, SEA projects, we're gonna start having those requests come in about like all the projects. So they actually are recommending that we meet with SEA. But before we do that, I wanted to check with Dr. Mike, because they also talk about the C4E in this time of year. Do you know if we're due for that again?
C4E is usually, I want to say it's February.
Because they're listing it in like September, October.
Maybe something.
I think it's,
Well, we do one at the end
I
of the
think
year,
it's-
and we do one earlier in the year
I want to
also.
say it's January, February. I don't think
Okay,
it's,
so we will
I
hold
don't
up
think
on
it's yet.
that. But SEA, if
usually
could
we get alerts for that because it's a presentation that I have
That
to
you have
do
to
with.
do, yeah. Okay, so we're good on that. So SCA, we said we're gonna see if Dr. Mike can get Danielle to come next month.
Danielle Schaff?
From SCA, she's the one who took over SCA as of like this year. Our previous contact, Ben Goodman, is no longer in that role. The other thing I was thinking about based on looking through this is, do we want to see about having somebody talk about middle school admissions? Is there somebody that you have that would be able to do that?
We can have someone from enrollment. You can have someone from
If we could
enrollment.
do
to
that,
come.
I think that would be, because we're getting around that time frame, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. But
We're
all
right in
that
the midst
stuff
of
is
it.
right in the midst of.
So if
of
we could do
enrollment.
that for November, I think that would be a good touch point. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on things they wanted to add or
Remind me
put there.
the date real quick of the November meeting and I'll email Danielle Schaff, right? What is it?
Fifth.
November 5th?
Does anybody have anything else they wanted to throw on the agenda? We might have something else after a few minutes of discussion that we might be adding on. And then middle school admissions, so somebody from enrollment. Possibly, we might need to be putting some resolutions on that meeting as well, just so everyone knows, which we're gonna talk about in a minute, because Stephen and I are gonna present some items. But other than that, does anybody have anything else? I know Food Stream did not show up today. If they reach out, I'll give them a chance to come next month. If I don't hear from them, we're just gonna move on without them. Just so everyone knows what I'm thinking, next month I said to Egypt, I think we're gonna look into wraps for the meeting for food, if everyone's good with that. We'll get some veggie options, regular options. Okay.
I did 15 minutes planned.
Perfect. Okay, so moving on to resolutions. So after the PEP meetings, the PEP meeting that took place and just some of our discussions, Stephen and I both have a resolution each that we wanted to bring to the council for discussion. And then if everyone is okay with it, we can vote to put it on our calendar meeting for next month to actually vote on it. So Stephen, I'm gonna let you explain yours first, and then I'll go into mine.
1 second.
Yeah, everyone should have a copy of them. We're not gonna vote tonight, though. We're just gonna discuss it tonight and then agree if we want to put it on for a vote for next month.
So my resolution I'm bringing forward, just for, it's in your folder, just a little bit of background. Recently, the Federal Department of Education has threatened to withhold magnet school funding from the Department of Education due to the Department of Education's policies around gender expansive students and trans and non-binary students. They have asked them to basically go along with abolishing those. And as of right now, the DOE asked for an extension to push back to look at this letter. And some of the other CECs, the CEC 30 has already passed this resolution in support of students of expansive gender identities, basically affirming that we support the DOE and their council in reinforcing the DOE's existing policies and that we show support of these students. The reason that I put this forward is our district, we talk about kindness, inclusivity, and community. That should involve all students, no matter what your politics are around gender expansive things. We want our community to be welcoming to all students, no matter what their background is or their identity. So one of the reasons I brought this forward is the Queensborough President's Office. The reason Kat came was also to support this resolution. I think this is our chance as a community education council to state, in the face of it being pushed back against, our acceptance of all students and all kids. So that's the reason that I brought.
And I believe the PEP did pass their own piece of this that night as well. Correct, Angela?
They may have done it after I left.
Okay,
like
she left.
3
Yeah, I
hours
believe
in.
I stayed on till like almost 10 o'clock at night with them.
Yeah.
And I believe they actually did pass something in regards to this as well. So just to piggyback off of what Stephen's saying there on that one, and I have no problem putting my name to this with Stephen. But if anyone has any questions, concerns, you can
And
bring it
I'm
up.
Happy to share co-sponsorship with anybody who would like to throw their name on it as well.
There's some sweets if anyone would like also.
Like,
Who's
only
this person?
comments is that there's-
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's.
Let them know and we'll get it
You know,
updated.
we know, this is just fine.
Anybody else have any thoughts or comments?
I concur with Stephen.
Okay,
You're collecting this?
no, you're holding on to it.
No, that was
That's
just a printout
yours.
so that you could read the.
So you can have it, review it, because next month we're gonna vote on it if everyone agrees to put this on the agenda for a vote next month.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And if anybody had any questions.
Right, and if anyone has any
why
questions
I'm
at this
doing it
point.
Or any comments, I'm happy to.
No one.
I
Yeah.
don't have any.
So old school is elementary, middle school and high school all inclusive.
It's in
Sorry.
line with what the current Department of Education policy is. Basically, it's just our affirming of the existing policies. We're not changing any
Oh.
policies. It's just us saying, as a community, we stand by policies of the department.
Okay, so with that being said, can we just take a vote on adding this to the agenda for next month for an actual vote on the resolution? Egypt, do you want to go through everyone real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shirley,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Angela,
Yes.
Amy. Vincent,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Fabiola,
Yes.
Juana. Yes. Stephen gets to vote on his own?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ken.
Yes.
Awesome. So I will make sure that that is on our agenda for next month as well. And then the second resolution that we have here is one that I actually put together. This is something very near and dear to me, which is special education. And I know that the PEP also did pass something. This is going along the lines of a lot of issues that have come up with special education in the last year. People are not getting services. There's not enough staff for this. And so this is really to push the DOE to make sure that there is access for all children, working with the families, and really just doing what we need to give ourselves this, like, family support. So if you want, you could look at it, ask any questions, but I think that we should go along with the PEP as well and follow alongside of them and stand by them as well as our students that need this. And like I said, this is very near to dear to me. My son is in a special education program. So I just thought it would be something that we should be addressing.
I agree.
If you're accepting co-sponsors, I'd love to know my name on it.
Yes, same.
Of course. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Okay, so we can vote on putting this on the agenda for next month as well.
Yes.
Egypt?
Enid,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Angela,
Yes.
Amy. Yes.
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Fabiola,
Yes.
Juana. Yes. Stephen
Yes.
and Ken.
Yes.
If anyone does want to be added as co-sponsors to either one of the resolutions, just email Stephen and myself. We'll make sure to update it before next meeting, and then we'll assign a number to the resolution based on what number we're up to.
Okay.
The last thing before we adjourn that I wanted to check on, I know, Dr. Mike, we had some student applications. Do you know where
Yes.
we're at with that?
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dr. Mike's gonna connect with those students, and I think these.
Mhm.
Right? Okay,
I'll take care of it.
yes. Okay, tell me which one's which.
Last year of.
No, this is a whole new year.
Okay.
So anything from this year.
Okay, so the first.
Yep.
And then if you go to.
Okay, so Stephen, you're 2. And I'll be 3. Okay, perfect. That way we can update it to say which number the resolution is at the top. And does anybody have anything else before we call it a night?
No.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll let go.
Okay, Shirley. Second by Christine again. Okay, it is 9:03. Have a good night, everyone, and I will see you on November 5th. If you remember, just if you can't make it, so please let me know it with enough notice.
Either you can't leave.
So Sean,